ROAS and CAC are like the most irrelevant metrics in e-commerce marketing, but it's all everyone wants to talk about. And out of context, they mean nothing. Like they mean nothing to how well your business is doing. ROAS, I think, is the most overused, overrated, misleading, and misunderstood metric that we talk about all the time. And I joke about how much my ROAS goes up when I eat steak, but that's intentionally a joke because I know that number doesn't mean anything. It's the number that marketers and agencies are judged on, but it's a narrow-minded and short-sighted way of evaluating your performance marketing. So in the next 2 episodes of Tactical and Practical, I'm going to show you how ROAS and CAC are flawed, and I'm going to teach you what metrics you should be looking at if you want to grow your brand profitably. This episode of Tactical and Practical is brought to you by IntelliGems and Postscript. Postscript is doing something super cool. They got a tariff relief fund out there, and it's helping us out a ton this quarter. They're giving us a really big break. I know they're doing it for a ton of brands right now. So if you're on Postscript already, hit them up about it. And if you're looking to make a change, if you're looking to go to the good guys of the SMS world, Postscript is who you want to be going to. So go to postscript.io, let them know I sent you. Get in on that tariff relief fund. It's huge savings for brands who've been affected by tariffs. IntelliGems, as you know, is the profit growth platform. That's it. Everything you want out of your store, top line revenue, bottom line profit, IntelliGems can help you get more of it from split testing your prices, content, copy, headlines, offers, shipping thresholds, and site themes. Pretty much anything you can imagine, IntelliGems is your place to test it, and their team is so good at guiding you strategically to make sure you are testing high-impact, high-value areas of your website so you can keep growing things profitably. Go to IntelliGems.io, let them know I sent you. All right. Your ROAS is lying to you. At the very least, it's not telling you the full story. So I think instead you should be looking at profit. Surprise, surprise, if you've ever listened to an episode of my podcast before. I want you guys focused on profit dollars. That's all I care about ever. And ROAS does not do that. So to figure out your first order profit, you got to subtract your CPA and your COGS from your AOV to figure out which ad and which offers are producing the most profit dollars, not the highest ROAS. To prove it to you, I'm going to show you 2 real examples of ads that are live in my account right now. And these have basically identical return on ad spends, but the profit they're producing for the business is drastically different. So let's look at ad number 1 right here. It spent $1,800, so it's early. But ROAS is at a 2. CAC is at $100. You would look at those 2 metrics and be pumped. Those metrics look way better than ad number 2. That ROAS is slightly worse, but the CAC is $250. Right? If you had set a cost cap for us, that ad would not be spending money right now. This doesn't start to make any sense until you look at AOV and until you start to see how much profit is coming out of these ads. So assuming that COGS take up 40% of revenue, that's not ours. That's just an average of what I know most of y'all are working with. But assuming your COGS are 40%, then ad number 1 is only producing $21 of profit per order. Ad number 2 is producing $45 of profit. That is double the profit. Even though ROAS is slightly worse and CAC is way higher. When I first started looking at this, a couple years ago, but I did this math on every single ad, and now first order profit, or FOP, is a custom metric I've built inside Ads Manager, and it's the one I look at to make decisions. It still has limitations because I don't really believe in attribution as a concept, but it's the best available data we have to tell which ads are really generating profit for the business and which ones aren't. I think people get so hyper-focused on ROAS and CAC because they think other metrics will stay constant. Right? Yes, if every other metric, AOV, conversion rate, LTV, if all of those metrics are identical, a higher ROAS and a lower CAC will make you more money. But all those other metrics don't stay identical. Right? We have very clearly seen that we have some ads that are doing a better job of convincing people to buy a higher priced product. We have some ads that are good at people are good at getting people to buy a lower price watch, but get people to take the upsell offers more. So much of this comes back to your copy and your content in the ad. It's doing a better job of selling people, so when they get to your website, they're going to end up spending more money. And if you are optimizing for a target ROAS, if you're optimizing for the lowest CAC, then you're going to miss out on some potential very high value customers and high value ads. This is where I fundamentally think cost caps are wrong for any business, because I don't believe your goal should be to decrease your CAC. I believe your goal should be to acquire as many high value customers as you can afford. That's my 9-word e-com strategy. I think I've done an episode breaking it down. Acquire as many high value customers as you can afford. 10 words. I must have added one at some point. But increasing your AOV and increasing your LTV is so much more impactful and so much easier to do than it is to decrease your CAC. We at Original Grain operate under the premise that our CAC is never going to go down, right? Especially as we scale over 100% again this year, by the way. 100% again this year. As we are doing this, our CAC is going up. It doesn't matter. Our AOV is going up faster. Our LTV is going up. Not as fast, but it's going up. And these things matter way more to the business than CAC. And if you keep chasing a lower CAC and a higher return on ad spend, you're going to force your media buyer, you're going to force your CMO into some really bad behavior. I can make our ROAS look amazing. I can do things in the Facebook account to spit out pretty much any number you'd like. I can do the same thing with our CAC. I could cut our CAC in half tomorrow. I'd cut half our ad spend and then only advertise our cheapest watches. So you can manipulate all these other metrics, but the only metric you can't buy is profit. You got to be good to get profit. You got to take risks to get profit. You have to be able to, stomach some less than desired efficiency on some acquisition orders until you learn how to sell more product, higher value product. Until you learn how to create ads that convey the value of your products better, so people are more likely to buy 2 or 3 at a time, and people are more likely to take your pre- and post-purchase upsells. That's what this game should be. As I look ahead to how I'm going to keep building the Original Grain marketing department, I think I'm going to have a job title that's Director of AOV. I'm going to hire that role before I hire a head of acquisition, before I hire, I don't know, whatever else people hire. But I literally think a head of AOV. I want someone whose only job is to increase our AOV as much as possible. That's going to be so much more impactful to the brand than anything you can do in the ad account, anything you can do from a media buying standpoint. Sell more stuff for more money. It's really simple, but I've just seen it pay off time and time again, both at Original Grain and other brands that I have insights into. I've seen it work out for them so well year after year after year. And in those same years, I'm seeing other marketers struggle and other brands shrink because they're chasing these numbers that don't translate into dollars in their bank account. They want a higher ROAS. They want a lower CAC. So they're forced into bottom of the funnel marketing, and it's hindering their long-term growth. If you are a media buyer or someone on a performance marketing team and your boss needs to hear this, please send this episode to them. And if you're a founder, if you're a CMO and you've realized that you have been pushing your team to chase these metrics that not only don't correlate with long-term growth, but actually hurt it, I want you to send them this episode with an apology and a bottle of whiskey. Shifting your mindset away from chasing high ROAS and low CAC and shifting it towards chasing high value profit from customers is going to change your business in the next couple of years. And, you know, it's a tough time for e-com, or so they tell me. I couldn't fucking tell because we're growing by 110% again. But if you're struggling this year, maybe it's because you've been chasing the wrong thing. All right, I'm getting a little cocky here. Sorry, I take it back. But shifting my mindset towards this a couple years ago has been a massive, massive part of why me and the original grain team have had so much success in the last couple of years. Right? Because we have shifted from this goal, we've, developed higher priced products. We've developed more bundles that are 5 times more expensive than our AOV. It changes the way you build the brand and build the product catalog. It changes the deals we're able to do with influencers now because we're not just chasing a low CAC. We're chasing high-value customers. So, please do that. You owe it to yourself to try to focus on the highest value customers, not the lowest CAC, not the highest ROAS. I promise you, it'll pay off. Thanks for listening to Tactical and Practical. I'm Nate Lagos. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.